Introducing Korean broadcast content that you won't be able to stop watching. For weary modern souls, Dr. Romantic, the quirky genius doctor of Puldam Hospital, prescribes heartwarming tales of humanity. A couple together for 7 years sees their rose-tinted glasses shatter. Can they keep their relationship alive? Discover the raw stories of youth, work, and love. Beyond what social media can show, experience the vibrant Korea through its hidden gems. Mama, the ultimate K-pop festival for global fans. Find your star in a feast of trendy music and electrifying performances. Now, the whole world enjoys it together.
The National Assembly has elected 11 of its 18 standing committee chairs without support from the opposition. The ruling Democratic Party, which holds a parliamentary majority, nominated the chairs on its own after the opposition People Power Party boycotted the vote. Korea's June exports hit a record high, surpassing $100 billion for the first time. This makes Korea the fourth country in the world to exceed the $100 billion mark in monthly exports, following the United States, China, and Germany. In Venezuela, the death toll has climbed to 1,943 following last week's devastating earthquakes, with more than 10,000 people injured and tens of thousands displaced. As rescue efforts continue, a 3-year-old boy was pulled alive from the rubble 6 days after the quake, in a rare moment of hope. Hello and thanks for joining us on Arirang News. We begin today at Korea's National Assembly, where political tensions are escalating as the ruling party pushed through the appointment of key committee chairs without opposition support. Our Moon Hye-ryun starts us off.
The National Assembly elected 11 of its 18 standing committee chairs without opposition support on Tuesday, after talks on dividing the panels between the ruling Democratic Party and the main opposition People Power Party collapsed for good. The DP, which holds a parliamentary majority, nominated all 11 chairs alone as the PPP boycotted the vote. The biggest sticking point remained the chairmanship of the Legislation and Judiciary Committee, which reviews all bills before a final parliamentary vote, giving its chair significant influence over the legislative process. Under a long-standing convention, the post has long often been held by the main opposition. The DP retained control of the committee, reinstalling four-term lawmaker Seong-sook, who had served as its interim chair at the end of the Assembly's first half. It also took the chairs of several key economic committees, including the National Policy Committee and the Finance, Economy, Planning and Budget Committee. DP floor leader Han Seong-sook said the PPP had refused to compromise.
We can no longer wait for the People Power Party, which refuses to negotiate, won't submit its list of nominees, and ignores the National Assembly Act by insisting on the Legislation and Judiciary Committee.
The PPP staged protests inside the National Assembly and declared it would refuse to participate in the 11 committees that were formed, warning it could also reject the remaining 7 committee chairmanships left vacant for the opposition. PPP floor leader Chung Jung-sik accused the DP of bowing to political pressure.
This reappointment is nothing but capitulation to a royal command demanding passage of the bill to cancel the indictment.
Separately, a parliamentary committee on Tuesday adopted a confirmation report for Prime Minister nominee Han Seong-sook in a session boycotted by the PPP, clearing the way for a floor vote. With its 161 of 300 seats, the DP later confirmed Han as Prime Minister. Moon Hye-ryun, Arirang News.
Former Minister of SMEs and Startups Han Seong-sook began her term as Korea's new Prime Minister on Wednesday. Han received her certificate of appointment from President Lee Jae-myung at the Blue House this morning. Speaking to reporters on her way to work, the new Prime Minister pledged to speed up the government's policy-making process and take bolder steps to invest in AI and other advanced industries. She also vowed to do her utmost to improve the lives of young people and small business owners. In the afternoon, Han will pay respects at the Seoul National Cemetery before chairing a meeting on AI innovation with relevant ministries. On the economic front, Korea's June exports hit a new all-time high, breaking the $100 billion mark for the first time in history. According to the Ministry of Trade, Industry and Resources on Wednesday, June exports surged roughly 71% year-on-year to $102.25 billion. Korea has become only the fourth country in the world to surpass $100 billion for exports in 1 month, after Germany, China, and the United States. The surge was primarily driven by semiconductor exports, which skyrocketed almost 200% year-on-year, surpassing $40 billion for the first time. And South Korea has lifted its emergency vehicle restrictions that were introduced during the Iran war as concerns over global energy supplies ease. The Ministry of Climate, Energy and Environment said Tuesday that the alternate day driving system for public institutions and the 5-day parking restrictions at public parking lots will be lifted starting at midnight Wednesday. The move comes after the government lowered the national energy security crisis alert level from alert to caution, following improvements in global crude oil supply chains after the reopening of the Strait of Hormuz. The ministry estimates the temporary restrictions help save about 160,000 barrels of oil per month during the height of the energy crisis. Rescue teams in Venezuela continue searching through collapsed buildings day and night following last week's devastating earthquakes, as many still remain missing, while international communities scale up assistance for devastated families. Our Cho Young-eun has a story.
In a rare moment of hope, a 3-year-old boy, Kleber Moran, was pulled alive from the rubble in a hard-hit coastal state of La Guaira early Tuesday. He was the only survivor reportedly found on the 6th day of rescue operations and was taken to a hospital for treatment. The dramatic rescue came as the death toll climbed to 1,943, with more than 10,000 people injured and tens of thousands displaced.
It will be the 6th day since the 2 earthquakes struck, and all national and international relief teams are actively engaged in rescue efforts and action to assess and address the consequences of these earthquakes. We must continue the relentless search for survivors.
Meanwhile, humanitarian conditions continue to deteriorate, leaving survivors with little or nothing to eat. Thousands are living in tents or overcrowded emergency shelters, raising concerns over sanitation, disease, and access to basic services. UN officials warn that food shortages are worsening in La Guaira, where essential services have largely collapsed.
In La Guaira, the hardest hit state, food shortages are widespread, basic services have broken down, and connectivity has been largely severed. Community tensions are rising as access to assistance remains constrained.
The World Food Programme said more than 3,000 metric tons of food are ready in the country for the most urgent priorities. It has appealed for $50 million to provide emergency food assistance to 500,000 people over the next 3 months, adding that it could expand support to 1 million people if additional funding becomes available. On Tuesday, a 47-ton shipment of UNICEF humanitarian supplies arrived in Venezuela, carrying emergency medical kits, maternal and newborn care supplies, and disease prevention equipment. Cho Young-eun, Arirang News.
U.S. envoys Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner are in Doha, Qatar, to discuss U.S.-Iran negotiations, but no direct meeting with Iranian officials is expected. Iran said Tuesday that no high-level talks are scheduled with the U.S. delegation, despite the envoy's visit following hostilities last weekend. Iranian officials said both sides must first finalize the terms of a ceasefire agreed to 2 weeks ago before addressing more contentious issues, including possible limits on Iran's nuclear program. According to Qatar's foreign ministry, the country's prime minister affirmed that mediation efforts would continue. He also met with Witkoff and Kushner during their visit. The U.S. Supreme Court has handed President Donald Trump a major defeat, rejecting his effort to limit birthright citizenship for children born in the United States to non-citizen parents. The ruling preserves a constitutional right that has stood for more than a century and marks the second time this year that the nation's highest court has struck down a major Trump policy initiative. Our Lee Seung-jae has more.
The U.S. Supreme Court has rejected President Donald Trump's effort to end birthright citizenship for certain children born in the United States. In a 6-3 ruling on Tuesday, the court upheld lower court decisions blocking Trump's executive order that sought to deny automatic citizenship to babies born in the U.S. if neither parent was an American citizen nor a lawful permanent resident, also known as a green card holder. The decision marks the second major defeat for Trump at the Supreme Court this year, following the court's February ruling striking down his global tariff plan. At the center of the case is the Citizenship Clause of the 14th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution, which states that all persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to its jurisdiction are American citizens. The Trump administration argued that the phrase "subject to the jurisdiction thereof" should exclude children born to undocumented immigrants and to parents living in the country temporarily on student or work visas. However, Chief Justice John Roberts said the court saw no reason to depart from more than a century of legal precedent. Roberts pointed to the landmark 1898 Supreme Court case United States v. Wong Kim Ark, which established that children born on American soil are citizens regardless of their parents' nationality, with only narrow exceptions such as children of foreign diplomats. He wrote that there was little evidence supporting what he called the administration's dramatically revisionist interpretation of the Constitution. Legal experts had warned that Trump's order could have affected the status of as many as 250,000 babies born each year and could have forced millions of families to prove the citizenship status of their children. President Trump brushed aside the defeat, saying he still hopes Congress can pass legislation containing similar provisions, though such a measure faces long odds in the current Congress. The case appeared to be particularly important to Trump. In April, he attended Supreme Court oral arguments on the issue, becoming the first sitting U.S. president ever to personally attend arguments before the nation's highest court. Lee Seung-jae, Arirang News.
After the national soccer team's early exit from the 2026 FIFA World Cup, Captain Heung-min and some of his teammates landed in Korea on Tuesday. Fans waiting at the Incheon International Airport greeted them with chants of encouragement like "Thank you for your hard work" and "Stay strong," which prompted a brief apology from Son. Son had earlier expressed regret in a social media post, acknowledging the disappointment of fans and promising to give everything to bring joy back. South Korea missed out on a place in the round of 32 after finishing third in Group A with 1 win and 2 losses. Young farmers are reshaping agriculture in Korea with the latest technologies. By digitizing operations and using data-driven apps, they're finding ways to cut costs and labor. Our Pick Ji tells us more.
In a rural town in Gimhae, a young man monitors his cow's health with a new data app, breaking away from traditional hands-on livestock observation.
The device analyzes individual data and sends it straight to my smartphone. It essentially allows us to monitor and manage the health and condition of each individual cow.
This farm has adopted other technology such as microbial feed incubator and a mass feed production machine. These tools automatically brew nutritional bulk manufactured feed, significantly cutting costs and labor.
As soon as I started working in the farm, I started digitizing our operations. I chose this approach to minimize losses for each individual cow.
With a foundation scholarship, this young farmer has successfully settled into the industry over 3 years. In fact, government agencies, experts, and local farmers alike are increasingly recognizing the vital importance of nurturing the next generation of farmers.
The way young people work is completely different. Our generation only knew how to feed the cattle. We didn't know anything about fermenting or cultivating microbes.
But despite efforts to encourage young farmers, recent statistics reveal a contrasting reality. While the total number of farm households marked a 20% rebound last year, a closer look reveals a critical demographic gap. The share of farm owners aged 49 and under has plummeted from 17.9% to 5.5% over the last 2 decades. With a decreasing number of young farmers, there is a growing demand for more practical solutions.
Our policies must focus on local needs, letting communities request the workforce they require, training customized talents for that demand, and ultimately helping them settle down in the region permanently.
Experts suggest providing hands-on experience and local connections to help new farmers launch their business. Beyond opening doors for more young people to enter farming, Korean agriculture needs a long-term infrastructure and practical support for it to thrive in the future. 백주희, Arirang News, 김해.
This is The World Now, bringing you everything you need to know from around the globe. In Pakistan, a roof collapse at an after-school tutoring center on Tuesday has killed 14 children. A 30-year-old teacher was also pulled from the rubble. Most of the victims were under 9, with the youngest aged 5. Officials said the center in the city of Lahore was operating without a registration inside a privately owned home that had a crumbling roof. A relative of one victim told reporters the roof had been in poor shape, with heavy materials piled on top. 2 people have been detained in the initial inquiry. Provincial authorities have ordered a survey of unsafe buildings ahead of the monsoon season and tighter rules for unregistered facilities. In Ghana, at least 13 people have died in flooding across the country's capital, Accra, after torrential rain submerged homes and vehicles. Rescue teams from the police, military, and fire service have pulled more than 470 people to safety. The flooding triggered a major fire at a rubber factory and forced authorities to cut power to parts of the city to protect equipment. Ghana's President John Mahama said about 140 millimeters of rain fell on Accra, far above the 56 millimeters that was the heaviest single-day total last year, and pointed to climate change. He also ordered the demolition of illegal structures built on waterways that worsened the flooding. The European Union has begun charging a flat €3 customs duty on low-value parcels from July 1st, closing a loophole that let Chinese platforms like Shein, Temu, and AliExpress flood Europe with cheap goods. Packages worth under €150 had been able to enter the bloc without customs charges, letting foreign sellers undercut European retailers. The EU receives more than 2 billion such parcels a year. American basketball superstar LeBron James has told the Los Angeles Lakers on Tuesday that he will continue his NBA career with another team. James, now aged 41, spent the past 8 seasons with the Lakers and led them to the 2020 championship. Reports suggest the Golden State Warriors are preparing a strong push to sign him. James just completed a record-setting 23rd NBA season, averaging 20.9 points, 7.2 assists, and 6.1 rebounds. Chu Ji-han, Arirang News.
Southern Korea is dealing with the first major monsoon rain of this season. This year's monsoon made it the 3rd latest start since official weather observation began. But it is making quite an entrance, bringing heavy rain right from the start in southern parts of Korea. In mountainous areas of Jeju-do Island could see up to 120 millimeters. Most of the southern provinces will get 5 to 40 millimeters along with strong winds. Central Korea will remain sweltering with heavy passing rain. The capital area will see 5 to 60 millimeters of heavy downpours along with thunderstorms. And this afternoon, Seoul gets up to 33 degrees Celsius, but Taeguk makes it to 26 degrees, Busan only topping out at 23 degrees. The heat will persist across Central Korea through the rest of the week, while monsoon rain continues to soak Jeju Island.
That's all we have for today's noon edition of Arirang News. Thank you for watching. We'll be back at 5 p.m. Korea time. Stay tuned.
In one corner of the village school, a child is sniffing in tears. Before him stands the teacher, stern yet kind in his gaze. Was he perhaps punished? Beside him, another child struggles to hold back laughter. Ah, that boy is smiling. He married early and is already wearing a gat. The energy here is intense. Wrestlers strain with all their might to throw one another, while people from all walks of life gather around cheering. Though for their taffy seller, business seemed to matter more than the match.